Since March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, I want to share my cancer journey with you. So 11 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 rectal cancer. It was a total shock. Obviously, my world was turned upside down. We had to act really fast because of how progressed it was already. So I immediately started oral chemotherapy pills and then had proton radiation. And then I had my big surgery to remove the rectal tumor. So I had an abdominoperineal resection. The tumor was growing on my sphincter partially also, and so the only way to ensure that we had clear margins was to remove everything, which resulted in a permanent colostomy. I remember when I first found out about this, I didn't even know what a colostomy was. So I had to do a lot of research, and I remember telling my mom, like, I'd rather risk dying than have a poop bag attached to my stomach the rest of my life. Obviously, I got over this and had the surgery. And then immediately after that, we started the IV chemotherapy through my port. This was awful. It's everything that you think of when you hear chemotherapy. So I had horrible nausea that was basically constant. I had really bad fatigue. I would sleep for days on end. And one of the drugs that I was on gave me peripheral neuropathy that was cold induced. So anything that was cold, or I say, below 75 degrees, caused my fingertips and my toes and my eyeballs, my nose, my throat to be really painful or feel like I couldn't breathe. So it was a rough little over 6 months of that chemotherapy. But second semester of my senior year of college, I was able to go back to school. So I went back to school, I was on chemotherapy, I had my new body part, my permanent colostomy that I was still getting used to, and this was all really tough to navigate. In addition to, being back at college, being with all my friends, going to class, trying to keep up with schoolwork. It was awkward because some of the people at school knew, but some of the people didn't. Like, where I was missing the previous semester. It was hard to know how to act. I was only 21, just turning 22 at some of that time. I think dealing with the colostomy was probably the hardest part about being back at school. I still didn't have a good handle on how to deal with it. I had no control over the output, the consistency, the timing of it, the sounds, the gas that would come out, and you can't control any of that. And I remember wearing like my puffy down winter coat to class in the winter and keeping it on during all of class because I was hoping that it would help like muffle any sounds that would happen. And I would keep my arms, crossed over my stomach in order to provide like another barrier to that. I remember wearing Spanx under my like sweatshirts and jeans to try to conceal the profile of the bag as much as possible, but realized this was a bad idea since I was having output at all times because I was in the middle of my senior thesis lecture and felt output coming out and felt it like start to seep underneath my base and realized it was about to leak. So I grabbed my bags, acted like I was about to be sick, and ran out of class, ran across campus, got back to my apartment just as it was starting to leak out. So I threw the Spanx away and didn't wear those again.